Welcome back, my fellow archers, for another episode of my Archero chapter guide. Before we begin, I would like to give a shout out to my 2 subscribers I gained from my Chapter 8 guide I put out about a month ago. Because of you, I'll now be able to put my daughter through school in the fall. Also, if you haven't seen my Chapter 8 guide, feel free to check it out. I'll put the link in the description below. In this guide, I will be showing you a complete run-through of the first time I beat Chapter 9, and I'll walk you through all the tips and tricks I figured out along the way. There's no way around it. Chapter 9 is a bitch, but it should not take you as long to beat as Chapter 7, so let's go ahead and get started. You'll see that I started off with multi-shot, and that is simply because I would kill myself if I did not start off with something decent. There are 4 skills that really help you beat the level, and these are multi-shot, front arrow, ricochet, and invincibility. So if I don't get those within the first couple levels, I'll usually just suicide at the beginning. So the first 10 levels of Chapter 9 are super easy. Nobody should be dying in the first 10 levels. If you are, a good tip for you would be to exit out of Archero. Hold your finger down on the app and press the X that appears at the top left-hand side of it, and that should fix your problem. There's 3 monsters to worry about here, though: the hands, the snakes, and the trolls. So here you'll see that I picked the attack boost. If I see anything besides the 4 skills that I mentioned in the beginning, so multi-shot, front arrow, ricochet, or invincibility, I pick anything that's just going to increase my attack. The reason is because in this level, clearing monsters as quickly as possible is the most important thing. And here you see I got invincibility star, so that's huge. Things are looking good right now. But the reason it's so important to clear monsters fast is because sometimes there will literally be no space for you to move because there will be so many projectiles. So that's why it's important just to clear out at least a few at the beginning. Also, during the later stages, starting on stage 10, I start to time my invincibility. And what I mean by that is waiting for 9 seconds after it turns on to go into the next room. That way it's protecting me for the first 2 seconds when I enter the room. That's when you're most likely to get hit because there will just be so many things flying at you. So I'll usually do that. I don't really bother on the first 10 stages though, again, just because they're so easy. So something I want to mention here is all of these strikes are pretty useless in this chapter just because you're most likely to die I think in the stages in between the bosses, in my opinion, and they really only help for bosses. And I also hate any ice abilities just because it ruins the predictability of the bosses. So that's why I went with Shield Guard here, even though Shield Guard really does not help you very much, just because so many of the projectiles will go over it. So if I haven't mentioned this yet, there's 3 monsters in phases 1 through 10. There's the hands that'll throw projectiles on either side of you, so you don't have to worry about dodging those. There's the snakes that'll throw 3 projectiles, 1 straight at your face, and the trolls. So this boss sucks ass if you don't have any damage boosters like multi-shot, so if you don't, be prepared for at least a 5-minute fight. Luckily, I did have multi-shot and an attack boost already, so it wasn't that bad. But for the first 2 boss battles, since they're the easiest, it's super important not to get hit and get the devil both times for 2 reasons. The first is that in later stages, you'll get 2-shot no matter what your health is. So you really only need about 3k hit points. Otherwise, get all the damage boost you can to clear out the first 2 monsters as fast as possible, like I mentioned earlier. The second reason not to get hit in a boss fight is because, let's face it, girls like a man who's a complete savage at Archero. To be honest, I started playing Archero to get girls, and it's worked out pretty well for me so far. I'm pretty sure I only got hit like 4 times in this whole video actually, so after I upload it to YouTube, I will be uploading it to Pornhub. To all my female followers, all I ask is that you be respectful in the comments. You know, I'm not a piece of meat, and the reason my last video doesn't have any comments is because I had to delete all the comments from girls about how sexy my Archero skills were. So sorry, got distracted there, but now back to the guide. As you see, I got Ricochet there, which was awesome. I took a second multi-shot here, which is a bit of a controversial move. I read on Reddit that if you get two multi-shots, it's really only increasing your damage by 1.1 from the last one, and that's just because of the multiplier and it slows your attack speed down a little bit. You can look it up if you don't understand what I'm talking about, but they usually say that most of the time it's not worth sacrificing your health for a second multi-shot. I don't really know how I feel about it. I feel like because of the bow has the extra 50% crit bonus, I like it because if you're shooting 3 arrows or 6 arrows, if you have front arrow too, the odds of one of them critting and doing 3 times the normal damage is really, really high. Um, so I think that the more arrows, the better, personally. Also, sometimes in stages 10 through 20, you'll get a scenario where there's four of the ice golems that shoot out all the ice projectiles in a row. And what you want to do there is, one, if you have invincibility, make sure that you have that timed out well. So usually you can kill one of them by the time that runs out, and then you'll just move to the space that was in so you can finish off the others. If not, just get as far away from them as you possibly can and hope that they do not hit you. But if when in doubt, though, always just stay still, because you'd be surprised how often they miss you if you just stay still. Also, something I forgot to mention is that I am cutting out me timing my invincibility between each stage. Just know that I'm waiting 9 seconds in between each stage before I enter. So that's why it always goes off right at the beginning. I took them all out because it saves about 5 minutes from the video, and I figured you guys would appreciate that. But here I took a HP boost because I knew that I would probably get a devil again for the Ghost Bomber at level 20 because I'm a beast at this game. And I knew I wasn't going to get hit, and I wanted to end up with around 3,000 hit points for the rest of the fight. So here, if snakes appear on either side of you, what you have to do is run up and then run back really fast to dodge them all, which I executed perfectly in the video, of course. And then, of course, right after I got, well, something missed me, but we're just going to ignore that. Here's a good example of me timing my invincibility really well so that I could take out one of the ice golems, move into the spot that it was, and get as far away from the other two. So that I didn't get just annihilated by all three of them at once. And yeah, so the Ghost Bomber, it's by far the easiest boss. It'll throw 5 bombs at you, so just dodge them. You can shoot 1 arrow in between each time it throws a bomb at you, and then it'll just lay out some bombs like it's doing now, and then periodically just will start throwing bombs at you again. For some reason right now what it's been doing lately, I don't know if you guys have noticed this, but it's been glitching where it just gets caught in that corner. And that's really, really annoying. What you have to kind of do is just get like right there in the middle where I am now and just move back, and that's the only spot you can hit it. But if it gets stuck like that, it literally takes 10 minutes. So I sped up the video really, really fast because I'm not going to make you sit through all of that. So Rage is really good. It basically increases your attack by whatever percent decrease your health is, which is why I like that a lot. And I think it's just something that will help you, especially in the later stages, because you'll usually be at half health for most of the time. So it's like almost like 2 attack boost, in my opinion. Level 20 is always these little bat shits that are flying around, so you don't really need to time your invincibility or anything there. The point of the bats, by the way, is they just soak up a lot of damage in the later stages and protect really annoying things like the guys right there that throw the bombs at you, or the little cone throwers. So what you kind of have to do, since the bats take up so much damage in the later stages, and what I'll show you, is you kind of just have to run around, avoid the bats, and target the bomb throwers or the cone throwers or whatever is really annoying. Take those out first, and then finish the bats off later. Which is, of course, exactly why I decided to demonstrate doing the exact opposite of that in this stage. But it was a little different because I was protected by that big wall. But on most levels, I would run up and target them first. And I don't know if you noticed what I did just there, but the big bat was right above me, and I held down on the thumb pad so that I wouldn't shoot off anything. Because the only way you'll really take any damages from them is if the guy's right next to you and you explode them into two. So if they're next to me and about to die, I usually just hold down the thumb pad so I don't shoot until they're further away. And that'll protect you a little bit, I think. So the hands, while they never will aim at you ever, so like if there's one right in front of you, you never worry about dodging it. They do tend to like throw projectiles like right around the corners of walls. So if you move around too fast, that's when you'll get hit. So even if there's only two of those left, I like to be careful and go slow when taking those out. And yeah, this levels like these, when there's just a shit ton of projectiles, you really just have to kind of go beast mode to dodge them all. There's really no way around it. So tip for the bomber guys that shoot the bomb projectiles at you is to move in diagonals, like you kind of see me doing here. There's probably some better examples of me doing it in later videos, but if you move in a diagonal, when all the bombs explode, they'll kind of create a space in the middle of where they exploded that you can run diagonally back into, and you just keep doing that back and forth. I'll point out a better example of this later in the video though. So this is a good example of when timing and invincibility can really help you out. I think this is one of the hardest setup rooms that you'll get every now and then. So even I got hit on this one, unfortunately there. But like I said, I think this is one of the hardest rooms. So if you can make through this, then you're looking pretty good. Yeah, not much to say about the next couple levels, so just sit back and enjoy some beast mode dodging. So this boss, I think, is the hardest boss besides the final boss. A lot of people think the B boss is, but I disagree. Um, Literally because when he shoots those crazy projectiles out, like he did at the very beginning, the only thing you can do is run as far away from him as possible and hope to God that it doesn't hit you. Now, some people on Reddit say that they can dodge this. If that's you, congrats. You are probably a Jedi. But for me, my best strategy I can give you is just to run as far away as possible. He does have two other attacks though. One, he shoots the projectiles in a ring. Those are pretty easy to dodge. You just take a step to the left. And the purple balls that shoot out shit to the sides. I think they're pretty simple to dodge too, but it gets hard when there's the purple balls coming at you and then he does his spike attack. That's when it gets really tough. Here I chose Headshot. People underrate the shit out of Headshot. If you have Ricochet, there's a high chance that they'll kill a lot of monsters right off the bat at the very beginning. So I really like it actually. So a room like this where it's close quarters and bombs are flying at you and stuff while there's birds flying around, it's going to be tough. But you just saw that Headshot took out the bomber right there at the beginning, which is pretty nice. The only advice I have for you here is, again, if there's a big bat right next to you, don't explode it into two, because one of them will probably pop out and hit you. So in this example, since my invincibility was up, I decided to just take a couple of those bombs to the face while my invincibility was up. You can do this when you're more confident, but I would not recommend while you're just learning how to time it. So this level, yep, complete shit show. Some levels just separate the men from the boys, so if you're not rocking some big dick energy, this game probably isn't for you. And while I am being completely serious about that, I will just say that it takes practice, learning how to dodge all these projectiles. So this next level is pretty easy. So in the meantime, I'm just going to give a shout out to my friend Nick, who I started playing this game with. He's actually on chapter 7 and about to quit. If you think that's a bitch move, please let him know in the comments, because I'm sure he will read it. On another note, do not ever get the ability smart. I would literally rather have nothing than smart. In fact, I take that back. I'd rather get kicked in the balls by a soccer player than to have smart, just because I hate that ability so much. But yeah, overall, some pretty sexy dodging on this level. If you want to rewind the video 5 or 6 times and watch it again, I would totally understand. Um, On this next level, it is a perfect example of how Headshot and Ricochet are an amazing combo, and having a Crit Master with the bow is also super awesome because I just cleared that stage in less than 5 seconds. Which, mind you, is about how long it will take a female to orgasm when you tell them that you beat level 9 in Archero. Ah, yes, the dreaded B boss. While I did get railed in the ass by 2400 damage right here at the beginning, I'll tell you this boss is actually pretty easy. All you have to do is stand in the corner, and as long as one of his projectiles doesn't come right at you, you're fine. So the last 10 stages are by far the most challenging because you won't be getting any HP boost from leveling up anymore, and you don't get a chest right before you enter the final boss room. So you have to be extra careful not to make sure that you're dodging. Also here I chose Holy Touch, which actually isn't as bad as some people think if you have Ricochet and multiple arrows, because every single time one of your arrows touches a monster, it'll fire off 2 projectiles to the side. So if there's a lot and your arrows are bouncing around, then that's going to create a lot of extra damage for you. So at this point, I've taught you guys pretty much everything you need to know up until the final boss. So I'm going to go take a shit, sit back, enjoy the video, and I will tune back in right before the final boss. So tuning back in for the last level before the boss, I have no idea how I did not get hit here, just because there's so much going on, but somehow it worked out. One pro tip I have is if you're on the bottom wall like this and there's a ball from a bomb coming at you, you can actually turn and run towards the wall like I did right there to make yourself a tiny bit smaller. And I did that again right there. And that's just something that will help you avoid getting hit sometimes. Just a little pro tip there. So the final boss fight is pretty hard. You want to make sure to time invincibility so that you can just tank the first attack and get some extra shots in, like I'll demonstrate here. So I just got a bunch off real fast. The boss has 3 different attack sequences. Reddit says 2 right now. Reddit is wrong, but it will either teleport, do a spinny thing like that, and slash at you, which is the one that Reddit misses. Or it will slash at you, send out a wave of projectiles, then, I don't know, send out one of those beams, I guess. And then the third thing is do a spinny thing, shoot out a ring of projectiles, and then do whatever that is right there. What do you call that? A shockwave. That's probably the best way to describe it. But yeah, it'll probably take you a few times to get down. You'll notice I killed him right as he killed me. Luckily I had a revive, but I count it as not dying the whole time. And by the way, I did this with a perfect epic bow and all other purple, so it's pretty easy. You just have to practice. So anyway, if you guys like the video, make sure to like and subscribe. Thinking I'll probably get to 1 million subscribers probably by the end of the next week or so. So if you're the lucky 1,000,000th subscriber, there will be a free giveaway for you. Also be on the lookout. I just beat chapter 7 again the other day just so I could go back and make another video about it. So I'll be dropping that video soon because I know a lot of people are getting frustrated at that level. And then of course I'll be releasing my chapter 10 video whenever I beat that level. So be on the lookout for that.